Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the D2 Talks. My name is Fabio Palvelli, and on this channel every week we bring you talks with some of the best artists from the archivist industry. So if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. This week I had the chance to meet with Sebastián Zapata of Friendly Shades. Sebastián is a very young and talented artist that has created a company, Friendly Shades, that produces assets that a lot of archivist artists love using. I personally have seen incredible renderings made using the stuff that he produces. We had an informal chat, it was a lot of fun, and I really cannot wait to share it with you. As always, enough of me blah blah blah, enjoy this beautiful talk. Dude, we're recording. I know, you're a musician, right? You're like... Sebastian, thank you very much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to you, Fabio. It's good.
This
Good
is
to have you here.
I'm very happy to have you on this show because I don't get to talk a lot to young people in the business, and you're actually very young. How old are you?
I'm 23, 24,
24.
sorry.
Time passes,
Yes.
huh?
Yeah.
24.
It's hard to get
You're
used to.
basically you're the founder of Friendly Shade,
That's right. Yes.
which is a company that produces mainly high-end assets.
Scans mostly. Yes.
Scans, yes.
For now.
For now. Okay, I want to know all about it. How did you get started?
Um, you mean for Friendly Shade?
With everything.
Well, it's a very long story because I've been in the field for about roughly 5 years, and I started with Blender. And I'm still working with Blender, and everything started as a hobby when I knew Blender for the first time on the web. I think I saw a video on YouTube about a car animation, and well, I've been always very passionate about 3D and really curious about it because my father is a graphic designer.
Okay.
He doesn't really work on 3D stuff, but it's for me since the child was like a inspiration. So that's why I got into 3D in the first place. Um, and when I found Blender was because I was searching for 3D softwares. Well, at that time I was a student, so
What did
it's
you
hard
study?
I wasn't studying really anything about 3D or CGI. It was, I don't know how to say it in English. I think it's engineer systems.
Okay.
Engineer systems, yeah. I was studying it because of software development, which was mainly the thing that caught my attention, and that's why I was studying for the first place. That's why I was studying. Then I discovered Blender, and well, it was like 1 or 2 years um, surviving with tutorials, free tutorials online in YouTube. Knew several good uh, trainers in YouTube, and it was good for me to start. I remember I started studying rigging and animation, which was uh, say the biggest thing I really was interested in. And then I started studying modeling, texturing. I was really interested on knowing the whole package, but my main interest was at that time in rigging and animation because I wanted to know how to animate characters and all that kind of stuff. Mm, I think I spent like 2 years before I actually started freelancing with Blender.
I think that I also
Uh,
got interested in Blender about like 3 or 4 years ago, and in 2 years I managed to make a sphere. Because it's a difficult software, you know. It's very weird. You select objects with the right
I have
click.
to agree. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, the good thing is with Blender, you at the at first glance you are like, oh, then what is this? Where should I start with or where? But then when you have some time using it, you somehow get used to it, and it's really easy because of all the shortcuts. Because one I don't know how to say one that like one thing that stands out in Blender is the shortcuts. That like there is not there are menus, but they are like a secondary thing. The primary thing and what you should do to speed up the workflow is shortcuts. So you are like G, Y, Shift,
This
and
is
if you
also what the guy at Blender Guru says all the time. Don't
uh,
learn where the
I know
commands
that.
are. Don't
And
learn where the commands are. Learn the shortcuts.
I don't know how 3ds Max works, but as far as I know, it is more menu based, if I can say it in that way. But in 3ds I'm sorry, in Blender you are like in when you are starting with it, when you get started with it, you are really confused and it's really hard to memorize all the shortcuts. But once you memorize them, it's really easy, and you model and do everything like
Ho-
very fast.
Hopefully, in the next 2 months, I'm gonna start learning Blender with a Blender trainer. I've already talked to this person. I have the plan to start learning the software because I don't know. I like the idea to go open source and free. You know?
And it's free.
Yeah.
That's I have to be honest. That's the reason I started with it, because I didn't have money. I was a student, so it was really hard for me to get the money and pay for a software without knowing if I was going to like it. I was going to be good at it. I don't know. So that's the reason I have to be honest. I just love it and still loving it, and that's why I'm still using it. I use other softwares like 2ds Max for certain things I can do in Blender, because you don't really have everything in Blender. Just because I've been also curious about other render engines like Storm, Octane, Corona. Those are the ones mainly I've been testing since a couple of months ago.
Tell me one thing. How did you get the idea to go full speed into this project, which is, Friendly Shade?
Mm, it's really hard. It was really hard for me to get started. I didn't. It seemed I couldn't find the time to start. And it's really hard to say like, okay, I'll start tomorrow, in 1 month, next year. It's easily to delay things or projects, but I I really needed a lot of things like budget, for example, knowledge. I started with the idea of creating friendly shade like 1 or 2 years after I knew Blender, when I knew textures.com.
Mm-hmm.
Really like that website, and for me that website was like number one when it came to textures. But I wanted when I started studying maps and texture maps, and there is not only color, but there's a normal maps, displacements. I was doing it the old way, the fancy one with crazy bomb, big plan. That so my idea was speeding up the workflow of people by creating a website not only with normal pictures like photograph, but also creating those maps. I didn't know about well, I knew about scanning like months later. I started thinking about friendly shade, which by the way I didn't know that name at that time. That came later. Um, so that was my idea. Basically, creating a website with all the maps, not only color, but creating those maps for artists, so they download like a material already made. Then when I knew about scanning, I started with the idea of creating that content with the scanning content. But that took me a while to study. That it was like 2 years and a half, I don't know, to really master all the scanning stuff. Then I realized that there was, yeah, at that time, some other websites started to warn with the same thing about the creating maps based on the color textures. And then I was like, I don't know, yeah, I don't know if I should do the same thing, because there is already a lot of that, and why not to do only scans, because that's the really one of the things is lacking on
On the
online,
market, yeah.
yeah, on the market at that moment, at least.
But this
um
became very quickly a full-scale business. I mean, now this is everything that you do, right? I don't think that you do any projects for clients. You only work on the friendly
no,
shade.
not at all. Yes, only friendly shade. I'm full-time friendly shade.
And this is fantastic because there are a lot of artists that need these assets. So by providing very good assets, you do two good things. You create a job for yourself, and you help other artists make better images.
Right. Yeah. One thing I mostly enjoy from my work is using. I don't know if it could sound selfish, but I really like using my own textures on renders, but not because they are my textures, but because I really like having well made and made with love textures in my projects. Not only mine, but from other websites as well. If they are good, it's like motivation for me to work on something that really looks good. Because for me, it's like a base, a really good base is a good texture, and of course a model. That's where all starts from. And I was going to say something else, but I totally forget it. I forgot it.
It's okay. Don't worry. It takes a little bit of time before you get loose in front of the camera talking. So don't worry about it. It's
But to be honest, I'm really, I don't know if it's something negative, but I'm really addictive to spend a lot of time on refining the texture, make it look as good as possible. One thing I hate from other websites is they focus more on releasing assets, lots of assets, but sometimes they miss something in the quality. I don't know. I mean, they are good, but they could be even like, more good than what you find online already. So that's one of the things I really enjoy, and I spend a lot of time working on textures.
Yeah, but this is a good thing that you say that because a lot of artists actually find themselves in this position, and they say, I don't want to charge now my customers because I know that what I have done this month is not as good enough. And then there are other companies that they just have a business model and they have to push out stuff, otherwise
Exactly.
clients are going
Yeah,
to complain.
maybe some, I don't know too much about the matter, but I guess some of them have investors and people in the back who is really pursuing the revenue. I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce it.
yeah, you're right. No, you're
So
right. It is like this.
so it's for me, before the money is first a good product and something that people will love and find it useful.
How long
So
does it take for you to make one texture, one scan?
see, that's now that you mention it, that's one of the things I've been struggling lately, because I have this problem that I don't like to speed up with losing quality. I'm really okay with speeding up, but sacrificing quality is not something that comes from me. uh, and that might be a problem sometimes. But right now, it's for me, it's taking at least as minimum 1 week to create one material. But to be honest, it has took me 2 weeks and almost 3 weeks sometimes to get just one. When I go crazy, yes. So right now I'm looking. Actually, just today Nvidia released like another batch of XP. So I wasn't at the office, and I just cancel everything I had to do, and I don't know how to say. I run to the office to purchase some of them, because I'm trying to build more machines to process faster. Right now it's taking too long with the machines I have. I have 3 right now, but looking for building at least 1 or 2 more computers. So I'm
And
all
what
like,
about
I guess
expanding?
scam fan. Scam fan.
What about expanding your team? Are you thinking of like growing in also with people, or is it in your plans right now?
Actually, yes. Maybe this is still really hard for the budget, but that's the plan, and there is future. So that everything will work if I still working as I am working, and that I think it's just a matter of time. But yes, I'm really willing to work with more people. I'm actually right now working with James Candy from Classy Dog Films. I don't know if you've heard from him before.
No.
He's a scanning master. Um, Actually, most of the things I've improved in scanning has it's because of him.
Okay.
He is actually he has helping me and still helping me with the library. Some of the scans in the first bundle we released are from him, and my father right now is helping me also to go out and scan with all the rig, because it's really struggling carrying all that stuff. So from work for one person is really hard. So
You
he's
should
helping.
really, you should really make a video of you making one texture, like going out and scanning, because this would be very interesting. I remember a very good friend of mine from Vienna. His name is Christoph Schindler, and he's the maker of real displacement texture. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
heard. And
Yes.
basically I remember, I was going to his place to look at him working, and I remember the process for making one texture. It was so painful, like
Yeah. It's like you need the passion, or you shouldn't do it.
yeah, no, but
Because the
it's
passion is
crazy.
the only thing that the engine that makes you really make it good and have the passion, the patience
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, he was telling me that basically he had to calculate that in order for him to make money, he had to sell 10 scans, he had to sell at least 1,000 copies for him to make money, because otherwise it was not going to be worth it, because there is so much work to it, you know. Like, I think that to make one scan, because the process that he was using, it was like actually sculpting and rebuilding all the texture 3D model. So, you know, it was such a crazy work, and I was like, man, how do you have so much patience, you know? And he told me,
you know, for obvious reasons, I can't talk too much about it. But I can say I really love automated things. I don't, as much as I can, obviously. If I have to work manually, well, I do it. But sculpting is not something that's in my workflow, at least not now. It's especially because of all the polygons I handle. It's really hard to display that in a viewport. So that's
yeah, because there are millions or points, right?
actually billion. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get into it in a 3D software. It's almost like a blind process in how can I say that? In some of the steps are really blind for me. Like, I don't see the result after some steps. So that's why I really don't sculpt. And actually I'm good at it, but not as much as I will wish.
Yeah, the sculpting is something that I've been trying personally to get into for a very long time.
Yeah, I've the few things I've been scanning are characters, and they are not really good, I think, in my opinion. And I only sculpt with the mouse.
Okay.
I've never tried a pen.
No, you have to do it
So
with the pen. You have to do it with the pen. It's another
yeah,
world.
that's
know.
why I don't consider myself a sculptor.
Pressure sensitivity and all that kind of stuff. It's very important. Anyway, I want to ask you one thing. Now that you've been, you know, mastering basically this field, and you're producing these beautiful textures, what about starting making 3D models? It is in your plans, or?
Actually, yes, it is. It's good that you mention it. It's in my on my plans, but not for the near future, because there are some other bundles and collections on the list. So I have to finish those before I really start on 3D models. But that's the idea. I really want to start scanning 3D stuff and assets that people can use also on games, VFX. But yeah, that's absolutely in the list.
I am basically showing some of your textures as we speak, and some of them are amazing. Like,
Thank you.
well, not some of them, all of them. They're just, the details are incredible.
Some of them are not, for me, in my opinion, are not that good as the last ones we scans, because of the quality.
Yeah, it gets always
I think,
better and better.
yeah, those are the first ones. Like there is one called like blocks, concrete blocks or something like that. Those are the first ones, and they are not as good as the last ones. Like the cobblestones, the sand.
How does it work for, like, why did you choose, I think you have chosen like a subscription model, right?
No, not yet. I only post a Facebook post, but asking really fast on what people think. At least only on my Facebook list, I didn't really send any email or any other social media. And people on Facebook I think is the most active. So just a quick question. Some of them were agree, some of them not. I think in general they didn't like the idea, and probably I won't go with that for a while. And I will have to build to read to make it worth to build a really big asset, which is not my main, as you may know, is not my main objective, creating a big asset library. But so I don't think I'll do it for now. I will just keep releasing bundles and collections. It seems people is already loving that. Then it's already loving it that way.
Tell me one thing, I have a curiosity. What is
Yeah.
the project that you have seen of your clients that has made you the most proud?
You mean from freelancing projects?
No, no, like, you must have done some project for some of your clients that you said, sorry, some of your clients must have done a project using your texture that you
Oh,
must have said, wow.
um, actually, one sent me one today. He's called Patrick Bolge. I don't know if that's the
Oh,
appropriate pronunciation,
he's a friend
but
of
I
mine,
just
Patrick Fogel.
oh, you know him. Ah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
I've
Cool.
interviewed
Now
him.
I didn't know that.
He's a very cool designer, and I tell you, he's going to be a very big designer one day because he's very talented.
Yeah, he's already, and he created in F term. Actually,
Yeah.
he proposed me to still using the textures and yeah beta tester. And I just today I how to say that
Don't worry,
I
take your time.
I made it become a beta testers beta
Aha,
test.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I added him to the beta tester group
You
in Facebook.
enrolled him in the beta test program.
Yeah, he was really in love with the texture, so why not?
I know,
And
and the beautiful thing of Patrick is that he's very involved. So when you ask him questions and he's up for it, he's gonna really help you, and he's gonna get into it.
that's awesome to know. I don't really know him a lot, but as far as I've seen, he's very good at it and really good person. That's cool.
Do
And
you have the picture that he sent you?
um, what do you mean? Can you repeat that, please?
The picture you said that he sent you a picture, right?
Yes. I actually he actually shared it in the F Storm group, and I
Okay.
shared it. I reshared it in my Facebook profile.
Okay, I need to look for this. Hold on,
And
Sebastian.
it is also on the Friendly Shade Facebook page.
I need to find this. Now because I know it's. Oh, okay, I see this one. God
I,
damn
I
it.
I don't know if I spot all the textures, but I could see like three textures,
Yeah.
like the roofing, some cobblestones, and bricks.
That's crazy.
I don't really know if he used other ones, but
That
those are the
is
ones I spot.
crazy. That is crazy. I just
There
like
is
the picture
also
in real time.
yeah. There is also another cool artist. He's called he's Suko. Let me. He's in the Facebook in the Friendly Shade gallery.
You think you talk about Mio Suko?
Yes, him.
He's the I think he's from Vietnam, right?
I think so. I'm not really sure, but
He's a
yes.
very talented artist. Yeah,
He made a very yeah Miyusuko
yeah.
a very awesome image. Very the best I think I've seen using Friendly Shade, and very realistic. I really like it. And he created like two or three moods. One night, one sunny, and like one cloudy or overcast version. And all of them are really amazing. And I really love how he used the textures and incorporated them in the scene. Really cool.
Sebastian,
that.
I have a question because we're getting very close to the time cap. Uh,
Sure.
if some young artists, they have some ideas and they want to develop a product for their own. Talking from your experience, what can you recommend these people? What is a suggestion that you can give them in order, to do it for themselves and build a business and build a career for their own?
One sec. I understood the last idea, but not the first one.
Okay,
Can you repeat that?
if a young artist also has an idea to say create HDRIs or 3D models and they want to sell them so that they can support their career as artists, what would be a recommendation that you would give them from your
Mhm.
experience having a business online?
Well, first of all, if that's something you really love, I mean, do it. It doesn't. There is always a bit of fear. I think is the word. Insecurity. But that's something you won't. You won't really um, get away 100%. You always have you always have a bit of fear and insecurity.
Yeah,
So
it's the fire, right?
yes, and the thing is, the idea is not getting rid of it, but being
Yeah, conscious, yeah.
conscious of it, and just face it. And if that's something you love, you should risk. You should really take the risk and do it, and try it. And I'm really sure anyone will have success if that's something that he or she really loves,
Yeah.
and know how to manage this insecurity of if you are going to be successful. uh, it's really hard when you are going to do something new, whether it's a business or not.
Yeah. One of the topics that I'm discussing now with some other people that I'm thinking of doing videos with
I will,
is
I will I'm sorry, just one other thing I will say: if you are freelancing and you are getting money, if you can save. And I haven't really have any investors before, but I will say go yourself by your own, and use your own money.
yeah.
Everyone starts small, and I'm still small, but I really have faith and that it will get better with the time. So do yourself a favor, and if you are working on anything, and you are planning to start a business, try to save as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be a rush. You don't have to start tomorrow. If it will take a year or 2 years, that's okay. Just take your time and plan everything.
It's good that you say that. Especially, I'm very happy to hear this from a young person, because a lot of my clients are very young artists and they don't understand the difference between making money and making value, and they see
Yeah,
money just like something that comes in from the work that they do. They spend it and they don't think about building value for themselves. And I think that you have a very good mindset for being an entrepreneur.
thank you.
Also the topic of fear, I'm discussing it now with some other people that I'm trying to get involved into making a video. And it's good that you're mentioning it, because a lot of people say, they ask, how do you deal with fear? And very often the answer is, you don't deal with fear. You keep fear and you use fear to do better, to do
Yes,
more, to improve yourself, so that it's not fear, but it's motivation. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yes, passion. Yes,
Seb-
of course you'll have to. I know it's really hard on the market, but you'll have to find good clients that are always willing to pay what you ask for, and that's all. Obviously, that's something that will help you, not like making you stress. I started really small. I was charging like 10 an hour when I was a student. Then I started to increase it as the time passed. I was increasing. Then I remember I ended up charging almost 40 an hour, 32 an hour, and then I raised it. The last job I can remember. That
That's
was
awesome.
that the I started like 10, then 15, then 20. There was like a period of a year when I was working for 2 years. I was charging like 32 an hour. I always like it to work by hour, not I wasn't really a good fan of fixed price jobs. It's really hard to, I mean, you can go fix it, but when you have some time with the clients and they are like the best you find, and those are the ones that will give you the budget with for every anything you will invest.
It's true. It's really true. Sebastian, listen, we are already 35 minutes in. I'm gonna stop the recording for now. I just wanna thank you so much for taking the time. I find
Thank
it
you.
very
Uh,
inspirational that a guy your age has already been able, to hustle this much. I think you have a
thank
very bright future in front of you, and I don't mean to patronize. I really mean it sincerely. You're a very
you think so?
you're
Thank
you're a
you.
very good guy, very kind, very available as well. And I just wish you the best of luck, and hopefully I get to see you at the Dito conference soon.
I hope so.
Listen, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you very much again for doing this. Don't go anywhere. I'll stop the recording and then I'll say goodbye to you.
Okay.
All right, give me a second.